Well, hello, folks. Yeah, I chopped up my writing video and I haven't been posting it. I rode around one of my favorite rides around my place and videoed it on my action cam with my action cam. Then I cut it up and I was going to put little bits and pieces out, but I stopped doing it because I'm so busy doing some house renovation work and stuff like that. And I've just been really busy with my other writing project, the creative one. And then I wrote a couple of other things, but I haven't edited it all down yet. So it's going to be a while before I can get that done, probably in December. But there's only a few people that really care about anything I post or write anyway. So I'm not too worried about disappointing people, but I just wanted to make a quick video today for the one or two folks out there that might be wondering where I've been, because I usually put up a video or so, a couple of videos a week. One thing I'm writing on is a critique of the Pinker-esque kind of apologetics for modernity, and I mean that in a classic sense, not to disparage modern this or that, but just to say that. And basically, the apologetics have to do with our Western-centric Anglo philosophies, phil political philosophy, and our desire to co-opt all things Greco-Roman, and colonialism, imperialism, and science, engineering, and technology. You know, we are the gods, basically, of the universe, made in God's image, and everything we do is just absolutely wonderful. You know, it's a supremacist perspective. Most of us just naturally feel because we've been inculcated with these stories, and we've been programmed with these stories from the day one, and so we believe them, and we can't see the forest for the trees, which is a basic state of things now for most of us. We don't understand the necessity of living soil. We don't understand the devastation of our agricultural techniques, monocultures, all this kind of thing. We don't understand water cycles. We don't understand how vital, as in living, the Earth's chemistry is and how dependent we are on it. We care about stuff, we care about status, and status competition is something we really love and obsess on all the time. Even those of us who are trying to make a difference or be good are worried about our status as do-gooders or whatever. It's just kind of built into us. We've been evolving this way for tens of thousands of years. It's interesting when you think about, you know, our hands and, you know, our ability to make tools with our hands, and the development of our brains and nervous systems. Evolution is so much fun. I love it so much. But anyway, I'm writing on the scaling of slaughter. So it's like violence rates in pre-state and modern societies. And, you know, what do we know about that, actually? What lines of evidence do we have to say that we know anything about, you know, the violence of hunter-gatherers, like, you know, 100,000 years ago, what the violence rate was? And of course, there are trade-offs with everything, right? You have a washer and a dryer and a car, and you don't get knifed when you go to the bar, usually. I mean, it's rare. And so you got all these nice things, and you're not getting clubbed over the head when you're having your mead at the monastery Suppenküche, and so you're happy. You know, things are peaceful. You go to the football game and scream and yell, and nobody gets killed. You know, you can argue about violence rates and gun violence in the United States and all that. It's not really about that because the contexts of these cultures were so very different. And so if you look from an anthropological perspective, you know, you can't really compare it. And people talk about, you know, indigenous hunter gatherers today in little pockets around the world, in Amazon and Africa and wherever the Andaman Islands or whatever it is. And you can't really compare and contrast these cultures. They're so different. And they're plastic, they're malleable. They're easily changeable and evolvable depending on what's going on, the environment, the habitat, the ecosystem. And that's why humans have been migrating around the planet forever because we move when we need to move, and then we adopt new ways of doing things when we need to adopt new ways of doing things. In our current predicament, we have no reason to want to adopt new ways of doing things. So we take on the probability of a Russian roulette game and figure 1 out of 5, these fat tail events like a nuclear war aren't going to happen. So we'll just continue going. We're going to win, you know, 1 out of 5, pretty good chances that we're going to be okay. So we do that. We also accept the stories and advice of academics and billionaires too easily. I mean, experts are experts for a reason. They've spent a lot of time in their domains working really hard, but they don't know everything. And they make mistakes also, and they're biased. We're all biased. So you have to look at everyone and say, well, I like a lot of Steven Pinker's books, and over the years they've taught me a lot, or I've learned something from them. But, you know, I'm not all in on his worldview anymore. Same thing with Richard Dawkins and other people. There's a lot of great information out there, and the more you expose yourself time and time again to these various domains, the more you start to understand the picture comes into focus. It gets more resolution. And so you understand it a little bit better, and then you start to question how you thought of it before when you were a pure novice or something. And I'm not even close to an expert in any of these domains. So I'm not going to be writing a book about Leibniz anytime soon or something like that. You know, my math skills are fairly rudimentary, but I can do my sums and so on. You know, we all want to believe we're experts in something, but very few of us are experts. So it's important to, you know, listen to experts and learn from them. But it's also important to take everything with a grain of salt because we don't know shit. Human beings really aren't that smart. Nature is more complex, more interesting, more adaptive. It's more resilient than any human culture or individual or, you know, whatever. We are only here for a brief stint, and that's our fault. If you look at the last 200 years of history and what we've done to the planet, but then if you put that in the context of what we've done to the planet over the last 100,000 years, it's quite interesting. I'm rereading Goliath. It's a fantastic book. Anyway, it's really, really great. And I recommend that everybody who listens to this, 2 or 3 or 4 people, pick it up and read it before the end of this year. It's just a really fun survey. It's not Yuval Harari. It's not that shallow. It's not that pop. But you know, it is a big survey, and it's not perfect, but it brings a bunch of different perspectives together. It puts it not in necessarily in deep time from a archaeological standpoint, but from, you know, a cultural standpoint, kind of going back to ancient times and following human culture through and addressing uh, Goliath, which is just big, uh, you know, social organizations, states, kingdoms, and collapse from various perspectives. What climate has to do with it, what food has to do with it, what technology has to do with it, on and on and on. But he's fun. It's a fun read. It's interesting. I think it will help to flesh out your worldview, make it a little bit more reality based. But you know, he's it's not like one expert opinion on one topic that you have to do a deep dive into or something. But it's well worth reading, and I think you should. I mean, there have been systems thinkers for a long time. You know, Meadows' book is great, Thinking in Systems or whatever it's called. Malthus, Brown, Bolding, William Rees, Hubbard. There's just a ton of them. Joseph Tainer. Anyway, and some of these people are on Substack and other platforms, and you can read what they're writing right now and pick up their books and stuff. The internet is a fantastic resource, and the AI librarian, research librarians are very helpful and useful too, if you're willing to do the work and vet the information that it spits back at you. You can basically train these LLMs to give you what you're looking for and think along your lines. So if you think your line of reasoning is reasonably good, you can make good use of these tools to ferret out the information, the books and the articles that you're looking for to bolster your train of thought. So it's good stuff. So there's a quote I was going to read here, the MTI, modern techno-industrial civilization thing. Form of civilization has no long-term future because its root assumptions about the nature of reality are fatally flawed. Its root assumptions about the nature of reality are fatally flawed. And, you know, this could not be a more true statement. We don't notice it because we're doing kind of well, a lot of us, and we're addicted to all the things we have. But our infrastructures around the world, global infrastructures, are vulnerable. One or two things could happen and it all goes south really quick. And we're addicted to all of it. So imagine, you know, you're addicted to 20, 30, 100 things, 1,000 things, and you have to go cold turkey, like within a month or two. Of course, this isn't doomerism. This is just the truth. Shit happens. There are fat tail events, improbable risks that can happen and will happen at some point. And it, you know, precautionary principle out the window, whatever. But we need to think about these things. We should anyway, especially if you have children, because you have to, in a positive way, an optimistic way, prepare them for reality. And their challenges are going to be different. If you're raising kids in the 60s, you could just worry about their education and, you know, the usual stuff. And, you know, they got to get a good job and, you know, have a family and just do the thing all over again, you know, just reproduce what you did, only better. But the future isn't looking like that. Everything is extreme in our world. Everything. Extreme tech, extreme everything. The way we do everything is extreme. And that creates these fat tail risks and makes them more probable to occur. And so that's the nature of our world. And so that's what our children are inheriting. Full stop. I'm sorry to say it. They're inheriting more probable fat tail risks. You read Nassim Taleb to learn about that idea. But anyway, the other thing I'm going to look at is, yeah, well, the other one that I'm really interested in is, collapsology and overshootology and all that stuff. We've been collapsing for ages, literally, and we are now. We just don't feel it necessarily. And we've been in overshoot for a long time as well. We just don't feel it. But there's a problem with us. All of our leaders should be fired. They should be gone and replaced with different kinds of people. There is no good reason to prepare for war anymore. We have bigger fish to fry. We have more important things to worry about and more important challenges to confront. So systemic collapse, demographic contraction, and total war in global history. This is something interesting. If you go back and look at it through time and then think about what we're facing now with, drone swarms and total surveillance and AI, Russia has this thing called dead hand, which is, if they feel that they're under a nuclear existential threat, the computer takes over and makes sure that if the command and control centers of Russia are destroyed, it will. This distributed computer, whatever algorithmic system, will ensure that all of the nukes in Russia are go towards their target. It's just complete suicide, right? There will be no world without Russia. The United States is the same way. All of it's stupid. It's a waste of resources. I mean, money, fuck money. It's a waste of everything. It's a waste of life. And it's stupid. People in power today should be gone. We should kick them out. I wish we could. I just don't think anyone has the will to do it. And the people with the knowledge, or of my opinion, we don't have the right stuff to go out and start a revolution and do whatever needs to be done to terminate these irresponsible, sick monkeys. And I'm not advocating violence or anything like that. I'm just saying they need to be gone. They need to be ended. Their tenure needs to be stopped. Anyway, there's a few things like that I've been working on, but they're longer pieces, and I have a lot of editing to do to make it something I want to share. So that's basically what's going on with me. And I'll try to put some more biking stuff up, but shorter ones, because usually when I bike around, it's for hours. And so I wind up with an hour worth of video nobody's going to sit through. So I got to figure out how to make shorter things. So I had a few ideas and I jotted them down somewhere, but I couldn't find them. So I'm just extemporaneously blah-blahing at the moment. Sorry for that. Anyway, 20 minutes gone by, that's enough, right? Read that book, Goliath, and, try to take on the difficult subjects. Understand that's part of life too, and that it's fascinating, it's very interesting, and fun to learn about, actually. So there's no reason to get too stressed out. You're alive, hopefully, and doing well. So enjoy the day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take good care. Buliam T. Out.